Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are covering a deck profile on Master Duel for Lair of Darkness. This is definitely an unsung deck. It's always a really fun deck for me. One of the more fun control decks you can ever be playing, in my opinion. This is what I've been running, what I want to run as of late. I think this feels really good. It really appeases my eye holes as a Lair of Darkness player. It can be hard to get the deck down to 40. We've done that here. The extra deck looks really good. I just have to pick up the last of the ultra rares, and I think it's in a good spot. Like, honestly, we're missing a couple cards from the TCG, but I know a lot of people in videos when I've been doing TCG videos about Lair have been asking about Master Duel because there are some very significant changes. So let's get into those. So starting off, of course, with the monster lineup, we've got triple Max C. It's just Max C, right? Like, going second, if I'm not going to be able to like end the turn with a hand trap, I'd rather just draw a ton of cards. We can just find traps that can just play going second. We can find Lair of Darkness with Lilith, with Arima, that helps break boards. The one of Super Poly, you know, whatever it is, right? Ties of the Brethren play, Prosperity digging you for whatever you want, like all that stuff. Like, you just set that up. As long as your opponent doesn't set up like the end all be all can't break it board, you can at least draw into enough cards to out resource them. So I like it. We also play the one Ash, and that's for a very particular reason, because when we get to our level 3 Dark Fiends, being one Sangan, triple Tour Guide, one Skarm, and triple Lilith, we then look at Ties of the Brethren. That's really the main function of this deck, is really try to set this up. You win a lot of duels without setting it up, so don't think that you have to resolve Ties to win the duel. The deck can absolutely win duels and grind it out without ever seeing Ties. But Ties does help, for sure. And so the idea here is, if you don't know what Ties does, it summons 2 monsters with the same type, level, and attribute as one that you have on the field. So you summon, let's say, Sangan, then you activate this, you summon Skarm and Lilith from the deck. Skarm will pop itself, getting you a search on end phase for follow-up, being either another Lilith or a tour guide. And then you use Lilith, tribute Sangan to get a trap, and then Sangan can search you a hand trap. It can also search you follow-up, but usually it's getting a hand trap. So it's searching you either Max C, but if you already have a Max C, it is a 3 of, you just add Ash. So then you add Ash, Max C, good trap card off Lilith, and a follow-up in hand off of just resolving Ties of the Brethren in the with also having a Max C in the hand. Really, really strong. So much value. And you have 2 other unknowns in hand as well. So really good. But Lilith is insane, obviously. Skarm is just there for a follow-up. Guaranteeing you a follow-up play. Tour Guide sometimes being that follow-up play, but also just giving you utility, being able to normal summon, get you into Sangan or Skarm, and then make a link 2. We have a couple of utility link 2s in the deck, so that's really nice. And then Sangan just getting you either a hand trap or a Tour Guide or a Skarm. That's really what it's searching, but that's still really valuable. And then obviously 3 Arima. This card is either terraforming, or it's actually a decent normal summon mid-game, especially if you have Lair on the field, because you can tribute a monster to draw a card. So if we tribute an opponent's monster just to draw a card, that's like really insane value. You go +1, they go -1, and you're going to get a token on the end phase from Lair. So really, really good. Love this card. Into the spells, though. One, terraforming. You just do want to increase your chances of seeing Lair. You just do. Your hand always feels better as long as you can get to like either Arima or Lilith, which usually you can. Triple Ties, obviously we want to resolve this. Don't need to explain that. Triple Prosperity. This feels like the right pot in a Ties of the Brethren build, right? We're playing a higher count of the level 3s, so if we play Extravagance, we would probably draw like double level 3s, but you never want more than 1 in a hand, ever. So like Extravagance just feels like, sure, it's more powerful. It can be more powerful, but can also be like way less powerful at times. Because if you already have a level 3 and then you draw 1 or 2 more, like, they're just dead for the turn. Straight up dead. Like, so bad. Whereas this card at least can, gives us a better chance, a higher consistency rate of seeing Ties with the level 3. Then we have Triple Lair. This card's insane. Lets you tribute your opponent's monsters. Makes everything dark, which has specific synergy with Lair, but also against weird matchups like Salamangreat. Their deck needs to be able to link into fires, or needs fires on field to link into any other link 2 or higher. So that actually just like cuts them off of like 60% of like what their deck wants to do. It's just summon, you know, Heat Leo and Sunlight Wolf and control the board. They cannot do that under this. Really good. Super Poly. This is a weird one. And anybody that hasn't already seen my deck profiles doesn't know that I play this all the time. But you have 2 different ways to search this out pretty consistently. So getting access to this is no problem. They could put Super Poly to 1 and I would actually be even happier because it means we don't run into people playing it usually, but we'll be able to play it. Really good, really searchable, and just gives you awesome removal / disruption in the grind game. Then we move to the trap lineup. So for the trap lineup, we've got double Lost Wind, double heavy Storm Duster, double Back to the Front, double Trap Trick, and then triple Dogmatic of Punishment and triple Ice Dragon's Prison. Now this is nothing too crazy. I mean, these are all just different normal traps that kind of cover different bases. Lost Wind I like. You could definitely try to sub in Infinite Impermanence here. As far as going second cards right now, all I have is the triple Maxi, the 1 Ash, and the 1 Super Poly. So you could definitely try to play more than 5 going second cards by playing 2 or 3 Imperms here. Bump it up to 7 or 8. Then you feel a little bit more comfortable going second maybe. That's up to you. But for now, I like Lost Wind. It's better in the grind. I think it's better going second, right? Because it permanently cuts a monster's attack in half when it does, and permanently negates them. So that's actually really good in the grind, and then it also can reset itself when your opponent goes back into the extra deck. Really, really solid. I like this card a lot. Heavy Storm Duster. This is a Master Duel call. I maybe wouldn't play this in the TCG, but for Master Duel, like, once you get up into Plat, you're going to see Eldritch fairly consistently. You could see stuff like Dragon Maid and Altergeist or whatever, whatever other just trap decks you might run into. So I didn't want to be caught with my pants down not having enough backer removal. So just a 2 of here to be able to get this when I need it is plenty good enough for me. And it can come on clutch for sure. Double Back to the Front. This guarantees you follow-up. So like monster negation, back row removal, follow-up plays, getting you a Lilith back, an Arima back, a Sangan, a Skarm, whatever you want back, can be really, really valuable. Specifically Lilith, getting her back online can be really, really huge. 2 Trap Trick. This card guarantees that off of Lilith you can hit the 2-ofs guaranteed, because she kind of works in a particular way. You pick 3 normal traps from your deck. They don't have to have different names, but if you play a 2-of, obviously that's only a 66% chance of hitting it, unless the 3rd card is Trap Trick. That way you pretty much just guarantee hitting on any 2-of you want. That actually matters. So that, and also it's better than having 3-ofs in your deck. It's just more flexible, more versatile. If you do see it, you can grab any of these that you want instead of it just being a hard copy of one of them. Really good. And then for the 3-ofs, triple Punishment and triple Ice Dragon's Prison. Don't need to explain much about these. This is the best removal trap in the game, in my opinion, because it can also hit back row while also sending you other utility stuff. I mean, this card pops a monster while also potentially popping a second card that can be anything, searching you Super Poly, or getting you a really strong punish if your opponent wants to destroy any card on your field. So I think that versatility is just so good right now. And pretty much always, but yeah, really good. And then Ice Dragon's Prison. This is another kind of tech card. I don't know if this has to be a 3-of. If you want to play this at 2 and maybe swap Lost Wind for 3 copies of Imperm, or just play, a Metaverse, you could easily do that. But Eldritch running around, this card really insanely punishes Eldritch. And I would say Eldritch might be the single hardest matchup for this deck right now. If, usually they just, outgrind you. And it's really tough. But this card can usually catch them at an awkward spot. And if they ever allow an Eldritch on field and engrave at the same time, we can just outright win the duel with this. Otherwise, we could potentially just steal an Eldritch from their grave as they try to bring it back to the field with its graveyard effect, and that can actually be really awkward for them. That can halt their engine, that can halt their ability to rotate, halt their ability to apply pressure to us just with a big Chungus, and that can actually be really huge at certain instances. So really good, and obviously this card comes up in other matchups too. It's just generically a bomb trap card. Really good. Then we get to the extra deck here, Double Intis. The only, by the way, these cards I'm missing here are just all ultra rares. I didn't have enough coinetry right now to get them, but I will when I have the chance. But Double Intis, you definitely need 2 for your triple punishments. Super Poly targets, Mud Dragon, Chimera Phlasia, Starring Venom, Dragus Depelia, Tryphia Veritum, and the Eldritch the Mad Golden Lord. Specific stuff here is once Lair is on the field, all 3 of these are just so, actually even Mud Dragon too, all 4 of those are so easy to make. So that's very important to note. And then Chimera Aphasia, the fact that this is also a punishment target, because you can send this to pop a monster, then on your next standby phase, you can add a polymerization spell or fusion spell from deck to hand. You will be locked out of something from the extra deck that turn when you add it, because you would have punishmented, but you can still set Super Poly because it's a quick play and just clear their board on their turn, and that's totally fine. If you make Triffy Veritum, by the way, the duel's usually just over, because you would have cleared 2 or 3 monsters off your opponent's field and then just set up an extra deck negate. Correct. And then this guy, again, just kind of hating on Eldritch. If we can Super Poly them, like, this is, I mean, this guy's hard for them to deal with. I think the only legit way they deal with this guy is by, like, using Eldritch's hand effect, or they have to play, like, a specific back, like, trap card that can clear this, because Conquistador can't clear it, and so they have to, like, get Eldritch in grave and then use his effect in hand, which means they have to send, like, multiple of their cards to the grave, which we're actually okay with. If they're gonna do that, then that's fine. They're gonna lose so many resources just out this one monster. The Pegasus, like I said before, you send him to grave off punishment, and then he's just annoying. If your opponent destroys any card you control while this card's in the field, you can just shuffle any card they control back into the deck. Really strong punish on them trying to do anything to your board. Like it a lot. One Link Spider, this just turns your Lair of Darkness tokens into an effect monster, so you can make Beat Cop or Verte. Almirage, this is so that if you open Sangan or Skarm, you can get their searches on turn 1, which is very ideal because we don't want them to get removed and shuffled or bounced or anything. But also Sangan, you can only activate the monster you get off Sangan the turn, or you can't use it the turn you search it. So you have to, like, get it that turn so you can use it. So we'd still be able to get, like, a max C on our turn, so that way we have it for our opponent's turn. And that's, you know, still something. It just was a max C searcher. One Cherubini, the idea with Cherubini is with triple Tour Guide, it makes Tour Guide able to get a Sangan search and a Skarm search, because you go, like, Tour Guide into Sangan, link them off for Cherubini, that'll get you like either the Maxi or the Ash off of Sangan. Then you can use Cherubini to send Skarm, and then Skarm will just get you a follow-up. So it gets you follow-up and a search off of just Tour Guide, which is pretty good, right? Then you get to Wee Witch. This actually does come up all the time for killing. Once you are taking control of the duel and you put up a couple tokens, a couple dark monsters on your field, you can make this and your board will just do like 2,000 more damage, and that can be the difference between lethal or not. And it also floats really good. And then you have Beat Cop. So this is the only generic Link monster that tributes a monster, straight up. So we can make this. We can use this to tribute an opponent's monster while Lair is on the field, and then also put a counter on Lair to make it so that it can't be destroyed the first time it would be. So pretty cool. It's cool. I wish she was higher attack or something, but she's nifty. I don't think she's mandatory. She's probably the easiest card to cut from the extract now, but she's cool. And then the Verte. So the way we use Verte is so cool, right? You send Super Polymerization to pretty much just wipe your opponent's board. He can make something dark, so like if your opponent has any monster on the field, at least that can be affected or targeted, then you guarantee can Super Poly your opponent, right? Because you can make something dark, and then you can guarantee, no matter what monster they have, make Chimera Aphasia, have a very strong chance to make Mud Dragon, or Starving Venom. If they have a fusion on field, you're guaranteed to make Dragostapelia. If they have 2 monsters on the field, and one of them is dark, that's all you need. One of them to be dark, you can guarantee Triffid Veritum, which means you wipe 2 or 3 other monsters to then make a 3,000 extra deck negate. Crazy. Really, really good. And it also makes like Tour Guide better, especially in the mid game or going second, because that means Tour Guide can just go summon Sangan or Skarm, link those 2 off for Verte. That'll get you either a Sangan or a Skarm search, so either follow-up or a hand trap. And then you clear their board with Verte, and then, you know, summon something, depending on what kind of deck they're playing. You go into one of these extra deck cards and then just control the board. So I like that it gives you a more offensive option off of the Tour Guide play. Definitely can come up for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck profile. I really like where the deck is as far as everything. The only thing I think I would say might be missing is maybe a trap card that's like a huge bomb card. I thought about trying to play Artifact Sanctum, but ended up steering away from it at the end. I still think this does really well, but Sanctum is just that card that, like, even if your hand is kind of garbage, but you open at least Trap Trick or Lilith, you can just like scythe your opponent, and that guarantees you almost every time another turn to try and play. And so having that like bomb trap card is like really good, but you'd also have to play the Scythe. So obviously you have to, you know, take that into consideration. But I don't know. Other than that, I think the list looks really good. It really is appealing to my eye. I think it looks really tight. I think this list looks really solid. Feel free to try it out. Feel free to swap a couple things around. Maybe pick your normal trap lineup as to what you think will be most work the best for you, and go from there. But I really like it. This is one of my favorite decks. Obviously, you guys know that. And yeah, hopefully we'll get Lord of the Heavenly Prison and Alice soon in here. That way we can really play Lair to its full potential, and we'll see what Lola does and when that gets imported. But a lot of different factors. Keep that in mind, and have some fun with Lair. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Subscribe if you have not yet and you want to see more stuff from me down the line. See you in the next one. Peace.